Okay, let's dive into this. We're unpacking a really incredible visual explainer today based on Damon Zaharides' Mental Toughness Handbook. We're basically going to map out the anatomy of resilience, looking at why so many of us completely struggle to stick to our goals, and more importantly, how we can actually build an unbreakable mind. We've distilled the core concepts right from the source material into a super clear blueprint for mental endurance.
Right off the bat, I want you to ask yourself a very real question. Could you survive a single week without electricity or the internet? Literally, just imagine waking up in the dead of winter. No water heaters. If you want a bath, you're jumping into freezing water unless you can manage to build a fire. Picture doing absolutely grueling manual labor from the crack of dawn until nightfall, right in the middle of a blazing summer with zero air conditioning. No fridge in sight. Now, this isn't some crazy dystopian movie plot. This was literally the daily reality for our ancestors. And, well, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, most of us today totally panic if the Wi-Fi drops for like 30 minutes, let alone trying to navigate a new city without a GPS app, right?
And this brilliantly highlights a massive paradox of our time. On one hand, we've got modern comfort, AC, smartphones, endless entertainment at our fingertips. But on the other hand, we have ancient resilience, the gritty, brutal reality of pure survival. We live in this era of completely unprecedented luxury compared to past generations. But ironically, we're seeing way higher rates of depression, anxiety, and mental fragility than ever before. Why is that? Well, it's because in getting all this comfort, we've kind of lost our psychological calluses. Our ancestors, they had way harder lives for sure, but they possessed this profound mental toughness that we are just rapidly losing today.
So what exactly are we trying to rebuild here? Let's define it. Mental toughness is basically the emotional stability of your mind in the darkest, most challenging circumstances. And notice what it doesn't say. It's not about physical brute strength. It's not about acting macho or never feeling sad. It is purely about emotional endurance. It's that ability to not just completely collapse at the first sign of a roadblock. Mental fragility is when you set a goal, the universe hands you one single setback, and you completely derail. Mental toughness, though, that's what allows you to absorb that hit, keep your emotional stability intact, and just keep moving forward.
And what's super interesting here is the actual mindset you need to build this trait. The source material brings up David Goggins, a guy who was practically legendary for his extreme endurance. He famously said, "I became obsessed with being the toughest man alive." He figured out that to achieve literally anything monumental in life, absolute mental fortitude is the ultimate prerequisite. He didn't just want to be strong, he became obsessed with being unbreakable. Because when you have that level of rock-solid mental toughness, you've got the foundation to achieve pretty much any goal you set. It literally becomes your superpower.
All right, moving on to the wilderness analogy, where we'll look at the fundamental difference between motivation and discipline.
Imagine a race between humans and wild predators. If we're talking about raw speed, humans are embarrassingly slow. A cheetah, a lion, heck, even a hippo is going to outsprint us effortlessly. But here is the fascinating twist of human evolution. Humans are actually the supreme marathoners of the animal kingdom. If a lion chases you, that lion relies on a short, super intense sprint. If it doesn't catch you quickly, it gets exhausted, it burns out, and it stops. But a human can jog for hours, even days, just pushing through immense physical pain. And this is the exact difference between motivation and mental toughness. Motivation is the lion. It's raw speed, it's driven by a good mood, but it burns out super fast. Mental toughness is human endurance. It's the discipline to keep running, to keep working on those goals, even when your mood is absolutely terrible, even when you hate the task. Motivation gets you off the couch, but mental discipline, that's what actually gets you to the finish line.
And when you start cultivating that kind of marathon-level discipline, it unlocks some massive benefits across your entire life. Let's do a rapid-fire run-through 7 of the 10 incredible benefits outlined in the explainer. Ready? Number 1, resisting negativity and bouncing back from massive disappointments. 2, trusting that no matter how bad things get, your circumstances will improve. 3, eliminating self-doubt. When you hit an obstacle, you don't question your worth, you just tackle the problem. 4, intense goal clarity. Say goodbye to the fog of indecision. 5, limitless courage, because an emotionally stable mind just doesn't panic. 6, embracing failure not as a total defeat but as a mandatory stepping stone for growth. And 7, the absolute willingness to sacrifice comfort for a greater purpose. We're going to explore managing stress and delayed gratification in just a second to round out the core 10, but honestly, these first 7 are incredibly practical tools for everyday survival.
Next up, the heavy hitters. Let's talk about stress and modern addictions. So here's the really crucial point.
We are living in a society with totally unprecedented levels of daily, chronic stress. And because so many of us lack mental toughness, we just don't know how to process it. So instead of facing our problems, unmanaged stress literally forces us to hide. We run away from life's pressures and take refuge in modern addictions. You know the ones: endless doom scrolling on social media, binge-watching shows, gaming for hours on end. We actively avoid taking on heavy responsibilities, like building a career or starting a family, because just the baseline stress of existing already feels like way too much to handle. Mental toughness acts as your shield here. It gives you the emotional capacity to absorb that stress, put the phone down, face your responsibilities head-on, and actually live your life instead of just hiding from it.
And facing life head-on brings us to our final core concept, the ultimate superpower, delayed gratification.
10%. It seems like such a tiny number, right? But the source material highlights this as a prime example of our modern struggle. See, the modern world is aggressively engineered to feed us instant pleasure, instant dopamine, instant results. Because of that, even setting aside a mere 10% of our monthly income is excruciatingly difficult for most people. The temptation to just blow that money immediately on trivial distractions, eating out, or impulsive online shopping is completely overwhelming. It takes supreme emotional stability to hold on to that 10%, to deny yourself instant pleasure today so you can have a secure tomorrow.
Now, let's stretch that out to 15 years. Imagine someone offers you a choice. Take 10 grand to spend on a luxury vacation today, or lock that money away untouched and get $150,000 in 15 years. Logically, the 15-year return is completely life-changing, but emotionally, most people completely lack the mental toughness to wait a decade and a half. They just want that instant gratification. True mental endurance is the ability to invest your time, your money, your health, and your energy into long-term goals that aren't going to reward you for years. It's the willingness to be hungry today so you can completely feast tomorrow.
We've really explored the incredible difference between modern fragility and relentless endurance today. We've seen how discipline completely beats motivation and how delayed gratification is quite literally your ultimate superpower. So I want to leave you with a direct challenge straight from the source material. Out of the key benefits of mental toughness we just went over, which one do you lack the most? Is it the ability to embrace failure? Is it delayed gratification? Maybe it's resisting negativity? I really want you to honestly reflect on this. Write down your weakest trait right now and get ready to start building those mental calluses, because awareness is always that first step to becoming unbreakable. Keep learning, keep pushing, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.